Hello, I'm here today with a friend of mine, Christ Sposito. Chris has been a friend of mine for over 15 years. And Chris has done a lot for the community when it comes to fundraising events. And we're going to talk about the sign issue. And it's really not about the sign issue, it's really about the people that we help. So how long have we known each other for, Chris?
We've known each other for 15 years now. And I'm just here to say that in the time that I've known Dave for these past 15 years, I first got to know him through his professional business of fixing my car and friends' cars. And I really saw what a professional he was and how he handled himself. And I always wondered how I would ever do being a businessman for myself. If I had to make my own living, I wouldn't be very good at it. But when I seen how Dave did his, that's why we started going there. My wife and I always have our car fixed there. And I actually had it done even before I was married. Dave's just a professional guy. I know he's a problem solver. But what really sparked our friendship is Dave and his wife Sue. We've both been working for numerous groups and events for people in special needs, of especially helping handling their medical bills through catastrophic illnesses. And every time I used to go into the shop to have the car fixed, I'd notice Dave was always getting, and his wife were always getting baskets ready for auctions and helping people out. And I said to him one time, I said, I'm involved in some of this too. Could you help out some of the people I work with? And they said, by all means, we'd love to do it. And I just seen how much they put out of themselves, that they're very empathetic. They know how to put themselves in someone else's shoes. They're that caring. I've even gone into the shop and I've seen the baskets and stuff and prizes they've had. And I've asked them, I said, what event is this for? And sometimes they merely say they saw on television or read in the newspaper or saw on the computer that somebody even 15, 20, 30 miles away that they didn't even know had a sick member, that they needed some help, and they just felt the compassion and empathy to help those people. And they're just the kind of people I enjoy being around with. And as I said, I know Dave would certainly be a great problem solver for the town of Lockport. That's why I think we need people like Dave Mongielo in office. I'm proud to support him, and I would ask anybody that knows me, if they're willing to give me a call, they could call and ask how proud I am of Dave and the job he's done. He's a real kind of professional. Even though he's a great professional, he seems to be more toward the volunteer side. He would only take being town supervisor from improving his community. He seeks nothing really for himself or his family. I know with some of the tax breaks given businesses, I know himself included, he looks and he wants to know, where's the tax breaks for the small people that have made this community great for 100 years? They seem to have thrived and done well for all these years, and now some other people, because they're quite wealthy, they seem to get the tax breaks and have the ear of the community more than the local people here. So we really need the local people doing their share. That's what's made this community great, is these people, these families, these traditions that have carried on for all this time. And Dave's just looking for a fair shake, just like any other businessman. I'm proud to know him. I wish you the best of luck, and I urge everyone to give Dave a vote.
Well, thank you, Chris. Now, with the fundraising events, when Sue, my wife, and I, when I first met my beautiful wife, by the way, was supposed to be in the video today, and she came down with laryngitis. Seems like the last 2 hours of doing this video.
Well, she's always speaking on your behalf. I
would love to have her here because she is a very good public speaker. The sign issue, and it's not so much as the sign, it's the people that we help is what really got to me more than anything else. And when we first got the sign, we put it on Transit Road, and I wasn't even thinking fundraising stuff from the get-go. And then Sue had the idea, my wife, that's let's do a fundraising event on the sign. I don't know, did she even contact you the first time?
Absolutely. I think I was merely in there having the car fixed one time, and both of you said, because I think I brought in some publicity for one of the upcoming events, and you both said, we'd like to put that up on our sign. That's the kind of community stuff we'd love to be interested in being involved in. And that's when we're out on Transit, we seem to have no trouble at all. I know several of the events you guys publicize it. And at the events I work in, I'm usually at the entrance table, signing people in, selling tickets, selling dinners. And I can vouch for the value of your sign. Every event we've ever had, all the families have gained great amount of help because you guys have been there. They've actually said, I was driving down Transit the other day and I seen a sign out in front of this car place, which obviously was yours, and they said they noticed that there was an upcoming event for somebody that was suffering from some tragic physical situation. So you guys did a lot to bring people in, again, bring people into the community. We've had people come from Erie County, Genesee County, Orleans County, as well as Niagara County. So your sign's a great benefit to the community. And that's why, I mean, my goal was never to get involved in town politics or go into a board meeting to make a presentation. But it did irritate me when I saw the town was giving you a hard time for doing such a noble project for our community. I thought, how in heaven's name could this be a distraction of the community? It's actually such a great benefit, and that's what prompted me to get involved even more on your campaign. That's why I'm proud to be here, Dave.
When we attended the first fundraising event that we advertised in the sign, it was really amazing how many people said they've seen it on the sign. And the numbers thing, on average, how much money does a typical fundraiser typically raise?
Oh, the stuff that we've been able to work on, we typically make between 15 and maybe even as high as 45,000 a couple of times. But again, I mean, we can have all the events we want. If they're not publicized and we don't get the word out, people aren't going to show up.
Marketing is really important.
Absolutely.
You know, it's
and that's where Dave and Sue Mongielo come in. I mean, we could not have a better display publicly than a sign like you got. Obviously, I mean, the radio station, the TV, they've all been great. The newspaper's been great. And patching that all together is what really makes our event so successful.
And how many people typically show up at these events?
Oh, heck, we've had probably in the neighborhood sometimes 500, 600, 700 people show up depending on the event. It tugs at you so hard. I'm currently working on one for a youngster who's maybe even terminally ill, but they're having a really hard time of it. Sometimes the medical insurance comes and goes for the family. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they lose it and they have to start all over from the bottom, and it's just so frustrating. You know, these people suffer enough from the medical part of it, and then to be sitting home worrying about the financial end of it. That's why we, and again, it's not just Christ Sposito by any means. I couldn't pull all this together. It's dozens and dozens of people. In fact, usually there's a committee of sometimes 30, 40 people that work on this stuff. So it's great teamwork, but it's something our community needs. Certainly, you know, when you're up against it like that, people like to say they're independent, but boy, when you've got a great medical emergency or a tragedy coming up, you do need a lot of help.
I mean, they have these organizations, Lions clubs, Kiwanis clubs, where you help organize, get money together, then they decide where the money goes. But this is more of a personal level. You are directly connected to the people that need the help. And when I got activated or involved, I wasn't really activated, but when I first met my wife, Sue, she was first thing she was saying, she had a fundraising event she wanted to go to. You want to go with me? It's like, yeah, I'll go with you. And I was really just blown away on how enjoyable it was to go there.
Absolutely, yep.
And one thing this has almost been my passion, to try and get people to go to these and put an advertising on a sign. I try and help Sue as much as I can. She's actually right over there. And for them to say that, I can't help these kids anymore, these families anymore, it just really affected me more in my heart more than anything else. And that was the thing that is just so wrong.
Well, that's what frustrated me when I went to the town board. They could not cite any circumstances where that sign was a distraction that caused any harm to the community. So the sign changes more often than they would like. To me, that's something that could have been accommodated. I saw no reason at all why the board and supervisor couldn't say we can accommodate this sign. In fact, the day we were there, I only knew a few of the people in the audience, and I must have had 12, 15 of them come up to me afterwards, say, hey, that sign's a great thing. Go back and thank the people, Chris, that you work with, that do all these projects. That's exactly what is needed in our community. So there's a lot of public support out there. I'm sure these laws can be rewritten, looked at again to accommodate what you want to do.
Yeah. But one of the things that the people don't understand, that the town has marketed this or ever told individuals that, we're not stopping Dave from advertising these fundraising events, because he can display the fundraising events. But they said I can't play the video. The whole reason for the video is that there's so much information to get across. The time of the event, we usually put a picture